Hey everyone, today I wanted to do a video talking to you about this Gen 2 handguard here from Aero Precision. This is attached to my 18-inch 223 Wild Precision rifle, Aero Precision Complete rifle. One that I built and one that I have been enjoying a lot. So far I've already done videos on the muzzle device and the barrel, and I'm just kind of working my way back as I go through these videos progressively. And so today we are talking about this M-LOK handguard. Now specifically, this one is the 15-inch version, and as I again mentioned already, it is in M-LOK, which is currently my preference. There's nothing necessarily wrong with key mod, but I do think M-LOK is the future. I own plenty of key mod stuff, so it pains me to say that, but nonetheless, I think M-LOK is the direction things are going in the industry. Now there's definitely a lot to like about this handguard. You know, definitely stick around, and hopefully I'll be able to elaborate to you some of the good things about this handguard, and also some of the things that I might change myself. So I'm going to take this side of the screen to list off some of the specs of this handguard, just so that I don't have to sit here and list off a bunch of numbers at you. And I'm just going to kind of run through some of the features of this handguard. So let's go ahead and start from the rear, where it actually meets the receiver. If you look here, hopefully you'll be able to see this. The way that the handguard kind of bulges out towards the back here as it meets the receiver, it does that on both sides, which essentially works as an anti-rotation device. So again, even though this secures to your barrel nut, the fact that that wraps around your upper receiver means that there's no way this is going to twist on you unless, you know, your barrel nut comes off or something basically happens that's never actually going to happen, most likely, at least if you assembled it properly. You can see the way that this thing actually attaches to the barrel nut is you got these 8 fasteners all the way around, and again, that's the way it secures to your barrel nut for your standard AR-15 upper receiver. Now they do make an enhanced upper receiver. Again, I believe it attaches in the same method, but instead of attaching to your barrel nut, it attaches directly to the upper receiver. But again, that's with the Aero Precision enhanced uppers. One thing you'll notice is you do have these QD swivel swing points on the 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock positions, and they work very well. Obviously, my personal preference is to have these QD mounts attached from, you know, built directly into the rail, because again, I don't have to worry about something not being Loctited and coming off my rail, and it just reduces the overall amount of bulk and weight that I have to attach to my handguard. One of the other things that I like that they did on this is, if you look up here at the top of the Picatinny rail, you'll see that they've pretty much shaved as much weight as they possibly could while maintaining a full 1913 rail across the top here. They've cut out these large sections in between, and then they've also scalloped out, removing a lot of material from even the full rail sections. So again, that cuts down significantly on the weight. And again, even though this is a 15-inch handguard, I want to say that it weighs like 11.2 ounces. So that's significantly less than an ounce per inch, and definitely helps cut the weight down, especially with such a heavy stainless steel barrel in here. Really makes this thing a lot more manageable to move around. If you went with an even lighter barrel, this thing would just fly from target to target. You have hardly any weight fighting you out there. You do have the M-LOK slots, again, in the 3, 6, and 9 o'clock positions. The areas in between are just, again, cutouts to make it a little bit lighter. You don't actually have the ability to mount in those kind of halfway points, which, again, is definitely not a deal breaker, but it is a downside compared to some other rail options out there. However, when you're looking at rail options that are going to be able to accommodate certain things like silencers, this is pretty much the standard. But I'll talk about that here in a second. Now, obviously, again, you have plenty of clearance to clear your low-profile gas blocks, so that's obviously a really good thing. This one has plenty of clearance, so I wouldn't even be surprised if some of the larger gas blocks out there are still able to accommodate this. As you guys can see, this is just a bipod adapter. I believe it's from Magpul that I've been using when I have my bipod attached to this. So that's just what that is. That did not come with the rail. That's just something that I threw on there. The last thing I want to talk about is the inner diameter. I believe it's 1.75 inches inner diameter, which means that for those of you who like recessing your muzzle devices, or excuse me, recessing your suppressors underneath your barrel, this is the perfect, under the handguard, this is the perfect handguard to be able to do something like that with. And again, those cutouts up here, even though you can't attach rail sections to it, because that's cut out, that's going to help dissipate heat a lot better than some of the other handguards out there. And that's, I think, something that a lot of people who want to put their suppressors under the handguards don't take into consideration. What this does is it creates as much airflow going around that suppressor as possible, which is going to help keep that heat down. And again, even if you're not running a suppressor and you're just shooting the heck out of your barrel and your barrel's heating up, again, this is going to help cool that as fast as possible, which is, I think, a really good thing. Now, generally speaking, I personally am a fan of lower profile handguards, which for a long time was not really an option if you wanted Aero Precision handguards. However, just very recently, if you guys have seen the TriggerCon video I did with them, you know that they are now making the Atlas handguards, which are much thinner profile, I believe lighter weight if I had to guess, just because of the smaller size. Don't quote me on that. But that does allow you to have a much slimmer profile. It still has rail sections immediately in front of the receiver, as well as out at the front for a front sight. But again, because of the smaller diameter, you're not going to be able to recess a silencer below it. So you kind of have to weigh what you want and what you don't want. If you want something that's a lot, bigger and allows a lot more airflow through, maybe take a look at these Gen 2 handguards. If you want something a lot smaller profile on a rifle that you want to be able to really come up and wrap your hand around, then maybe take a look at the Atlas handguards. But even then, I still think this one works well for that. As you guys can see, when I'm coming up here, I can still, granted I have meatier hands, but I can definitely grab on and do whatever I need to do to manhandle this gun around. One of the other pros about these handguards is they are actually really affordable, at least I think. They come in a bunch of different lengths, I believe from like 7 inches being the shortest, and again, all the way up to 15 inches like this one here. So for a lot of different barrel lengths out there, there is going to be an Aero handguard that's going to work for you. And again, I think at a very reasonable price for what you're getting, especially for something made here in the USA up in Tacoma, Washington. So a lot of really good stuff there. Again, as far as things that I would change personally, I do wish that there were some QD sling points up here at the front. Again, definitely not a deal breaker because you do have them back here. And the other thing that I like to have, if I can get it, is the like M-lock sections up in these halfway positions, but like so like the 130, the 430 or 5 o'clock, basically those middle sections between the normal rail sections. But again, not a deal breaker. There are ways around that if you want something mounted kind of at one of those 45-degree angles. They make mounts like that. So again, not a deal breaker, just my own personal preference. That's pretty much all I got as far as downsides or things that I would change about this. Overall, I really like it. I'm really happy with it. I don't feel the need to swap this out anytime soon. I think that it all looks really good together. If I can get this in a position where you can see it all. I just think that it really completes that look. Looks very handsome, and let's be honest, if your gun doesn't look good, then what's the point? So this handguard definitely helps with that. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I am going to be going through and reviewing all the other parts of this rifle, from the optic mount, which is Aero Precision, to the ambi charging handle, bolt carrier group, pretty much everything on this thing. So definitely stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, go ahead and do that. I'll have links at the end of this video to the other Aero Precision components that I've already reviewed, i.e. the VG6 Gamma muzzle device and this 18-inch stainless steel 223 Wild barrel. I will be doing some more accuracy testing with this barrel once I do the scope and scope mount review. So definitely stay tuned for that. I can definitely squeeze out better groups than I did already. So I'm pretty stoked about that. So definitely stick around if you want to see that. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and throw those in the comment section down below. I'll try to get back to you as quick as I can. But anyway, as always, I hope you're able to get something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching.